He is an Oscar-nominated actor, reality star, and big-time celebrity. Gary Busey, back in 2022, was appearing at Monster Mania Con in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, signing autographs and posing for pictures with fans. 2 women there accused Busey of groping them, and a third accused him of trying to unlatch her bra, all while posing and meeting Busey at the convention. Today, Busey appeared in court virtually, and we have the very latest from the courtroom. But first, Scott Peterson murdered his wife Lacey and their unborn child, Connor, on Christmas Eve because he was having an affair with a woman named Amber Fry, who he was planning a future with. Lacey was originally reported as a missing person until her body washed up on the shore of San Francisco Bay, 2.5 hours from their home in Modesto. But it was also the exact place Scott Peterson said he went fishing. Peterson's own alibi put him at the crime scene. Then he had a trial and a verdict that was celebrated by the public outside the courthouse. He was convicted and sentenced to death. That was back in 2004. Then in 2021, Peterson was resentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. That put Peterson into the general prison population. And recently, he was in the news after getting into a fight during a pickleball match in the yard. Tonight, we get the real story about what happened as we speak with the inmate who took down Scott Peterson, revealing the harsh realities of life in prison and the reason the wife/baby killer was beaten up. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. It's great to have you with us. The murder of Lacey Peterson was absolutely heartbreaking. She was about to deliver a child. She was about to bring life into this world and was taken by the lying, cheating killer who she married, Scott Peterson. A guy who really got a deal when he escaped death row and ended up in the general population. But while in the general population, apparently things have not been going perfectly for Scott Peterson. He was playing pickleball, got into a fight, or did he? Well, I spoke with the man who was fighting with Scott Peterson. His name is Charles Miles. He and his girlfriend, Tessa Morato, spoke to me the other day. I want to play for you that interview so we get the insight into what really happened in the yard and what life is like for Scott Peterson behind bars. Take a listen.
The call from
Charles Miles.
an incarcerated individual at the Mule Creek State Prison, Ione, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello?
Baby, you there?
Yes.
Okay, we're on with Vinny.
Charles, how you doing? This is Vinnie Politan from Court TV.
Hey, what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Okay. What happened in that pickleball match with Scott Peterson?
Okay, I wasn't in a pickle. I was not in a pickleball match.
So it wasn't about pickleball?
Yeah.
Everyone was saying it was about pickleball. Something happened, but you're saying it had nothing to do with pickleball?
Not from my perspective, not at all. I mean, I guess it could be, perceived like that because
Scott was playing pickleball, not you.
Yeah, he was playing pickleball. I was not. I was actually I was on the yard and I was arguing with the cops about just something to do with my tablet. We got tablets in here now.
Okay.
And I was recently transferred out of here, and basically, they had me messed up in the system, like saying that I had one still assigned or whatever, and I couldn't, even though I had one that was unassigned, I couldn't even get it. I couldn't even get it to work. And basically, I was up there trying to clear that issue up with the police, and there was probably like the third, fourth, or fifth time I've been up there trying to resolve this issue. And, kind of like what the cops do here is they just tell you whatever you want to hear, like, oh, yeah, they'll be here tomorrow, or, come back later, we're busy, or just whatever. They just try to say something to get you just to go away. They just try to brush you off.
Okay, so you're in the middle. So you're in the middle of speaking with the. Are they the guards, or is it actual police officers that are there?
Yeah. No, the COs that are like
the COs. Okay.
On site, like, you know what I mean?
So you're going back and forth with the COs, and Scott is playing pickleball. And how close are you to him at the point that you're speaking with the COs?
Okay, that's probably about 20, 30 feet away.
Okay.
Right? So once I started to realize that, I wasn't getting anywhere, I was right there with my cellmate. So we just started kind of walking away, and I was explaining to him, what they said, what the cops said, and then all of a sudden my cellie just like switched gears and said, hey, there's the baby killer, all right? And he was pointing towards the pickleball court, and I could not tell which guy he was talking about because Scott had like he had a hat on and he had like sunglasses on, and like he felt like he looks really dark, like he's been in the sun a lot or something. So like I'm kind of looking for this light skinned like clean cut dude that that everybody's seen on court,
right,
from like the pictures or whatever, right? He didn't look like that at all. He looked like Mexican dude that's been in the sun a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's got a ponytail now. Doesn't he have a ponytail or a man bun?
No, he cut that off. He doesn't have that either.
Oh, okay. He cut that. Gotcha. So you're actually looking for him. Had you ever met him before? Had your cellmate ever met him before?
No. My cellie knew who he was, so I kind of just took his word that that's who he was talking about. But the person he was pointing out didn't look anything like him. I used to be a gang member in here. Like I stepped away from that, but on that when I was in general population, we don't allow people that harm innocent people like that. You know what I'm saying? Like people that kill their wives and stuff like that, or child molesters like that. I'm not saying he's a child molester, but he killed an innocent person, and he killed and resulted in the death of an unborn child. You know what I mean? He was the first person in California to ever be charged with killing someone, a double murder that included the fetus, right?
Right. Well Lacey was 9 months pregnant. She was 9 months pregnant, and they even had a name for the baby.
Okay, well,
the baby's name was Connor.
Right. There was a second person that was charged in that same capacity, right? Someone did a gang-related drive-by shooting in the Richmond area, right? And they were the second person to get charged with that. And that person was actually housed with me in Contra Costa County Jail. So that's how I became real familiar with the case, right? So when I started to learn about the case, I learned that the baby's body was actually washed up on the actual beach where I used to go and play as a child, right?
Oh, wow.
Right there on the Richmond Point, the Richmond Point Pinole shoreline. So like one of my most treasured memories as a child, right? Going down there with my dad and like fishing and going down to the shore, like pick up rocks and seashells and stuff like that, right? And that's like something a treasure that I value. It kind of just hit me because that's where the baby was found, And I've always thought about that. I've always kind of just I felt like it just ruined like I don't know. As men, we need to be protectors of women and stuff like that. And I just, this case has always kind of had a profound effect on me. So
you knew about Scott beforehand. You knew about him. Now he's there because he was on death row for many, many years. He got himself off of death row.
I actually just had an incident with a child molester, person that killed children and raped them and killed them on another yard where I took off on one of those dudes. You know what I mean? Someone that was released from death row over on A yard.
Wow. Okay, so what happens now? So now you're walking with your cellie. You guys are talking about it. He's identifying Scott. What happens next?
But what's really interesting about this is actually the night before is I was alone and walking back from Pilline. I felt the need to pray about to God about many wrongs that I have done. And that I have always had good intentions, whether it was to feed myself or my family or avenge terrible things done to children by men in here who have committed some of the worst crimes imaginable. So much that it hurts my heart and soul when I'm around or near them. so many fake people in here talk about this and that, saying, oh, someone should do something about this or that, but hardly anyone ever does. I recently got into a lot of trouble beating up child molesters and their kind on other yards, prisons, etc. I know I have to stay out of trouble in order to get out of here.
Right.
I've been in the hole. I've lost property. I've lost privileges, money, and so many struggles lately. But through the grace of God, He has brought me a beautiful and honest, God-fearing woman in my life, and she deserves so much better. And I would do anything to show her that I am a man who would do anything to protect her and her two beautiful children, both little girls. And I pray to God to give me a sign and show me the way. Fast forward, the next day, I had initially went to yard to talk to the sergeant about my tablet, which every inmate is allowed to have.
Right,
However,
right.
mine was
So
purposely turned off.
here's what I'm trying to understand, Charles. The night before, you're having
Okay,
these thoughts. The next day now, you see Scott Peterson. Is Scott Peterson the sign that you thought was being sent to you, seeing him on that pickleball court?
Well, look.
He didn't know it was Scott at that point. He did his cellie yelled, "It's the baby killer," but he did not. It didn't click in his head that's Scott Peterson. He just thought it was a random dude because of the way he looked.
Okay.
So when I turned around, because I was looking back and forth like with the cops, like I was telling my cellie about the issue. Okay, all I did was I turned around when my cellie said that, and I literally seen this guy running towards us with the paddle in his hand, right? And he was aggressively running towards us, and it looked like he was just going to run right into me. I said, "Hey, stop, excuse me," you know what I mean? And he's like, "Hey, I'm getting the ball or whatever." And I said, "Stop." He did not stop. He tried to just literally run right through me or something to go get the ball. And at which time I just went into attack mode. I just started swinging at him, and that's how it started.
So at that point, did you know this was the guy that your cellie was pointing at? So did you suspect that it may have been Scott at that moment?
Yes, I had a feeling it could be, but I didn't know for sure. So I did not know for sure until we were on the ground cuffed when this all finished. But I mean, this went on for a while. Like I beat the hell out of him. Like I beat him down to the ground. Like
did he fight back at all?
Hit me. Yeah, like he was trying to like wrestle me. He actually tried to throw me on the ground. So like I had to, we were struggling on the ground. Like it was either like him getting on top of me or me getting on top of him. So I had to get on top of him. Somehow I was able to overpower him. I got on top of him, and I just started punching him out, kind of like a UFC fight, like where they're on top of the guy. You know what I mean? Like pounded on top of him.
Was he trying to get you with the paddle? Was he trying to hit you with the paddle?
I don't know what the hell happened to the paddle. Like I think when I first punched him, I don't know what happened to the paddle. I think he may have dropped it or something. I don't know if I got hit with it. I don't know what happened. To be honest, like it's kind of like a blur. When I went into attack mode, I tend to just kind of like, it's like fighting for my life type thing,
Yeah. So who made the first contact with who? Did he run into you
first? He
first?
made the first contact with me. He ran into me. He didn't stop. He didn't say excuse me. He just tried to bump into me and then kind of like go around me, but I told him to stop, wait up. Like he said he was getting the ball. I told him, hey man, I'll get the ball for you or something. Like you're not just like go through my personal space like that. And when he just proceeded to just kind of like aggressively just continue doing whatever he wanted to do, that's when I decided to launch my attack.
So what's the reaction? What's your cellmate doing at that moment, and the rest of the guys that are there? I mean, what are they doing while you and Scott are on the ground?
Okay, there was a guy that was with Scott Peterson, and the entire time this guy was talking, this guy was saying, talking about he was going to get in it, that he's going to beat my ass. He just kept talking, saying that, he even encouraged the police to hit me with the baton. The police hit me with the baton twice, and he was telling them to hit me again and again. I heard my cellmate saying something like, fool, don't worry about him. Like, if something happens, basically like my cellie made it. I could hear my cellie in the background, like letting it be known, like it's one-on-one,
And so no one else is getting involved in the fight. It's just you and Scott Peterson on the ground. How does it end?
It ends with me on top of him punching him out. He had grabbed my hand. He had bit me. So I got a big-ass bite wound, like, on my thumb. It's like a jagged wound that, like, it bled for days and days. Like, there's no mention of my injuries. My girlfriend, she has the report right there. If you want to read verbatim the report, babe, you can do that at any time he asks or whatever.
Yeah, I can read it.
There should be a list. Yeah, read the report. This is the official report.
Gotcha.
We're gonna hear.
Okay, circumstances of violation. On Sunday, March 9th, 2025, at approximately 14:48 hours, while assigned as Facility B Program Sergeant, I heard via my institutional radio, Code 1, Facility B, for a 1 versus 1 fight on the yard. After a subsequent review of the audio video surveillance system, it was observed that Miles AL0502 committed the act of battery on Peterson. It was observed via AVSS Miles attacked Peterson on Facility B yard by the pickleball court by striking Peterson in the upper face and torso area, utilizing his fist. Responding staff arrived on scene and gave orders to get down, which Miles failed to comply. As a result, chemical agents were deployed, which did not have the desired effects as Miles continued to attack Peterson by punching him with his fist. Officer A. Matson utilized a handheld baton strike, which stopped Miles' attack and quelled the incident. Inmate Miles and Peterson were secured in handcuffs and assisted to a seated position. Medical arrived on scene and conducted a medical evaluation of Peterson and Miles to document any injuries. Upon completion of the CDCR, both inmates were escorted to Facility B decontamination area and afforded the opportunity to decontaminate. Upon completion, Miles and Peterson were escorted to the Facility B program office holding cell area without further incident. The medical form 7219 report of injury depicted Peterson had injuries to his face, head, upper torso, and rear upper torso consistent with being the victim of an attack. And that's it.
All right. Wait till you hear what happens after the fight. There's more to this story. Plus, we'll get reaction from our think tank as they listen along with me. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan investigates the tragic story of 13-year-old Madeline Soto, sexually abused and murdered allegedly by her mom's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. And now we hear a jailhouse call where Stearns talks directly about the body of Madeline and when she died.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan investigates tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Does Karen Reed a killer girlfriend?
She's guilty.
Or the scapegoat in an elaborate cover-up?
Karen Reed was raped! You know who did it.
The Karen Reed murder retrial. Live coverage next week following jury selection on Court TV.
Is that correct, Mr. Peterson? You're pleading not guilty to the 2 charges of murder plus the special denying the special allegations?
Absolutely.
That's correct, Your Honor. I'm innocent.
Not really. Guilty, double murderer, was on death row, now in general population, got beaten up while he was playing pickleball by someone who wasn't playing pickleball. His name is Charles Miles. His girlfriend's name is Tessa Morato, and I spoke to them on the phone about what happened. Let's pick it up. We just heard about the fight. Now you're going to hear about what happens after the fight. So what happened? Have you seen him since? Are you separated? Are you kept away from one another? How is that being handled?
Yeah, he was placed, they were placed together right after the fight, I guess in cages, like a little bit apart from each other. So ask him about that.
Yeah.
Because they had a long conversation. I think they talked for like 2 hours or something.
Oh, then he talked to him for 2
Yeah, Charles talked to him for like 2 hours.
Wow. So afterwards, you guys are now cuffed and taken away. You're placed in cells, and my understanding is you're next to one another inside these cells?
Right, we're a couple cells away, but there's probably about 2 cages in between us, but nobody was in them. So, yeah, we were the only 2 people that were in the hallway.
Did you talk to him?
They got a hallway where they put, like, yeah, I talked to him for hours. We were in the cages probably from, what time does it say that incident happened, babe?
14:48 was the violation time.
Okay, so that's 2:48. So we were in the cage at least 2 hours together.
Wow. So in those 2 hours, what do you talk to Scott Peterson about for 2 hours after beating him up?
So basically, I let him know about, the issue that I had with the police. I told him, like, that I didn't really know if it was him or not. I told him, like, that I've been struggling with these issues about, I've had, problems with the, dealing with people of his like and kind. I told him, look, that I'm trying to be a better person, and that I told him that, look, man, also that I seen him running up on me with what I thought was a weapon, and just hearing that he was a baby killer and all that, it just triggered like a primal urge to, want to defend myself and my girl and just, women in general, Like,
sure. What did he say? What was his response?
He tried to convince me that he didn't do it, and I told him that I knew the evidence that they used to convict him. Right, it was kind of cheesy, right? Like they try to say that they picked up on a dog scent and all that. Like the dog picked up the scent at the pier, basically, and that was pretty much kind of like the only evidence that they actually had.
Well, they also had his wife's hair was in his boat. And he told everyone.
I didn't know all that.
Yeah, his alibi was being in San Francisco Bay. He said he went fishing on Christmas Eve on San Francisco Bay, which is nowhere near where he was living. He was living out in Modesto. Why would you go all the way to San Francisco Bay in a little tiny boat to go fishing? And then exactly where he said he went fishing is where, Lacey and Connor were found. He put himself at the scene of the crime.
One thing that I noticed, right, was that he's really quick to just agree with anything you say, right? He's kind of like, he's basically like a manipulator. Like he'll just, kind of like go along with what you're saying. He said that he was innocent, that, he said that he was looking forward to having a child and stuff like that. And he pretty much tried to minimize like what he did or what, what was going on at the time. He just said that, he was a dick, that he cheated on his wife, and he told me that basically that the family believes him now, and like he's got this chance to go on with the Innocence Project and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't know that Lacey's family was actually supporting this.
No, Lacey's family is not supporting him. No.
Is that a lie? Okay, so that was a lie.
I'll tell you what. If they were supporting him, I think I would have heard of it. I mean, every time he comes up, I've heard from his family for sure. Like his family is supporting him. I have not heard anyone from Lacey's side come out and say free Scott Peterson. And during the trial, I mean, it was very clear to all of us how they felt about this. I mean, very, very clear.
Yeah.
So I think that could potentially be some fast talking. I haven't spoken to the family in years, so I don't know. I haven't heard firsthand, but that would be huge news if Lacey Peterson's family came out and said, "We free Scott Peterson." I have not heard that. That's all I can tell you is I haven't heard that. I haven't spoken to them.
Right.
But that's interesting that he's saying that Lacey's family is supporting his freedom at this moment. That's interesting. So are you both in a place now where you will see each other on a daily basis?
Yes, we actually, the next day, I told him like, look, man, he's got all the money in the world in here, so people are willing to do anything for money. So I realized, like the predicament I'm in, he could easily just pay a bunch of inmates to try to get on me.
Right.
So, I kind of figured, and my girlfriend, this is one of the closest prisons to my girlfriend, and she comes to visit me. She lives about an hour and 10 minutes away. So I just don't want to lose that opportunity to visit with my girlfriend. So I figured the best thing that I could do is kind of just squash the issue and let them know that there's no big deal. So I told them, when we come out the cages, look, we're just going to shake hands, whatever, and we'll just it'd be good, So we signed the chrono to be on the yard together, and I actually went to the education that he works in. He works in the educational building. I got into one of the educational classes up there, so I see him about once a week, and we don't have no problem,
Okay. Well, Charles, that's the right approach to all this, right? You don't want to penalize your life because of what someone else did in their life. You know what I mean? So I think you're making the right choices now to just be as peaceful as possible, stay out of trouble, and so you can work through your time. How much time do you have left inside?
Well, originally I had a 68 to life sentence for gang-related murder. The guy had a gun on him. I had a jury that deliberated for 3.5 days on this case, but I was subsequently found guilty, and I didn't really think I ever had a chance to go home until recently, when they started doing youth parole, which lowers pretty much crimes of anybody that committed it under 25 to under the age of 25. Basically, everybody has a 25 to life sentence. So you start eligibility after 20 years. You do 80% of your sentence. So that kind of like.
So how much time have you served so far?
I've already done 18 years. So
okay.
I'll be
all right. So
in 2 years.
So don't do what you did to Scott Peterson to anyone else. Right?
For sure.
Yeah. Then you're going to get a second chance. You have an opportunity for a second chance.
Yeah.
So, if you have to defend yourself, you have to defend yourself. But don't get yourself into any sort of mess because of things that other people have done. You know what I mean? To me, you shouldn't penalize yourself for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done. Look, I'm done with the
That's good.
Jailhouse vigilante thing or whatever. I'm hanging up the gloves, I'm trying to
How
go
about
home,
this? Have you thought about picking up a pickleball racket? Is that one step too far,
Maybe
Charles?
I'll pick it up. Yeah, I think that's a little close, a little too far at the moment, but
I don't know. Maybe you and Scott could play doubles together, because I play pickleball all the time. Doubles is fun.
Yeah, I see Scott out all the time. I think he actually told me that if I wanted to go out there or something like that.
He was a good athlete in college. He was a college athlete. Is he still athletic? I know he's not a good fighter.
I don't really know. Yeah, no, he lost that.
He lost the fight.
But hey, I will say this. He's pretty damn strong for being like an older dude. Like if he's like 50, I think he's like 52, and I'm going to be 40 years old this year. I mean, he's pretty strong.
Okay.
Like he tried to throw me down, and like I said, I had to do what I had to do,
Yeah. Well, Charles, anything else that I didn't ask you about that you want to let me know?
Just that I love my girl, I love and her 2 kids, and I want to be a better man for them,
And I think that was the sign, right? This thing happened with Scott Peterson. Yeah. You get out of it relatively unscathed. So now you have an opportunity to do everything you can. And when you have the opportunity to speak to the parole board, you can tell them a good story. You can tell them, the good things that you're doing, how you're staying out of trouble, how you have seen the light, how your focus has changed, your values have changed.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely.
Yeah, Tessa, is there anything that we haven't gone over you think that's important here?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything except for the fact of really driving it home that Charles believes in his heart that this is God's plan. The prayer the night before where he had prayed.
I was walking through the same area.
The same exact spot where the incident happened. He felt like this was God telling him, like, this, you were meant to be in this moment at this time for this reason. And that was to change, to change him. And also what he felt was just bringing justice, because he said he didn't regret the attack. He felt like he was really bringing justice, but at the same
conversation, there's just something slimy about the way he was talking. I just felt like he was lying and the whole time.
Sure.
Yeah, but regardless, Charles has learned a lot through this, a lot.
Well,
I learned a lot about myself and just everything else, you know.
Well, Charles, good luck to you and Tessa, and I hope everything works out. And when it's time to go before a parole board, that you can tell them how you've turned everything around. I think that's promising. I think that's what you have to do. Continue to grow and move forward.
It still isn't over because, like, you know, the obviously the write-up and the, you know, I'm charged with a battery and stuff like that. Even though what I perceived was him running up on me, they're giving me a battery. Even though he was the one that ran into me, they're saying that they basically make it seem like I went after him and attacked him, even though he ran right into me. But
sounds like some mixed signals.
I guess. Yeah. We'll see how it plays out, but you know, I might have to, you know, suffer for a little while, like loss of privileges, canteen packages, all that kind of stuff, phone, tablet, like the ability is what I'm doing right now. I won't be able to do that for an extended period of time.
Well, and the other thing you can let them know is that you and Scott had a conversation and everything is good now, and it was some level of a miscommunication.
They got cameras all over this place. They wouldn't even let, one thing about this prison, I mean, they got to protect, like, certain inmates and stuff like that. They know I'm in the education with them, so they know what's going on.
Right.
I wouldn't be here. Pretty much I wouldn't be here. If Scott didn't want me here or he didn't feel safe, I wouldn't be here. He could have easily said that he didn't want me here or something like that, and I'm pretty sure they would have accommodated that. It's one of the only prisons they can house them at. They can house me anywhere.
Yeah, well, he was on death row, and he got off of death row, so he caught a break there, and now he's trying to catch a bigger break by getting out.
I don't know if he got out with the death row kickouts or if he got out prior to that. I think he might have got his sentence reduced.
Right. Yeah, I think it was reduced to life without parole, but he's still trying to get out.
Okay.
But we'll see. So, Charles, good luck to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And Tessa, thank you as well.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, man.
All right.
All right, you have a blessed one, man.
You too.
Let's bring in the think tank joining us tonight. Criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland, and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Got a good insight into life for Scott Peterson. He's known, Al, as the baby killer. Do you think this will be the only run-in he has?
Well, you know, Vin, it's very interesting to point out that Charles Manson, was once doused with flammable liquid, set ablaze by his cellmate during an argument about the Bible, So, and he talked about this religious thing he had with the God put him here and everything else. So they had an argument about the Bible. So what passage do you think was going on with the discussion that provoked someone to throw flammable liquid and set someone ablaze? You know what I mean? Like, this is the most bizarre conversation that I've ever seen. You know, it was Matthew 6 and then put the guy on fire? I mean, this guy's talking about that there was a religious experience for him to be put into a position to get into a pickleball fight with an individual.
Well, it wasn't a pickleball fight. Scott was playing pickleball. Charles was not playing pickleball. The ball goes rolling by, and I think Scott's trying to get it. Darnell, is this an insight into what life is like behind bars for some of these folks, and for someone like Scott Peterson that is now known as a baby killer?
First, what show was Al responding to? And secondly, does
He's dressed like Gilligan in Gilligan's Island. He's doing the Gilligan's Island reboot, for God's sakes. Look at that outfit he's wearing there. Just right back when you hear a tale.
Does Al
about Darnell?
Does Al handle inmate law? Because they probably need him for the next parole hearing.
On an island,
in terms
and
of
get back. Oh,
Al,
well.
behave yourself. You're unraveling here. So this is prime time. So listen, in terms of life behind bars, there's no logic to it. And these people pick what they determine is to be the crime that no one could deal with. So this guy Peterson is a murderer, and so he doesn't fit the code. But yet still, this guy just said he's in on murder himself, some murder-related case, but he's okay. So there's no logic to it. But what's strange about this is that it seems like Peterson has the juice where he can say, move this guy or not. 2, Peterson has more money than everybody in there, according to this guy. So he has privileges that we don't know about. And so after speaking to Peterson and doing the calculations that he won't be able to see Tessa if he keeps this up, him and Peterson seem like to be best friends. Peterson just got another supporter. So that's how illogical is behind the wall. And lastly, it seems like the guys behind the wall get the prettiest girls. So Tessa's not that bad. So he's not doing bad for himself, and that's going to help him motivate him to come home. So he's on that track.
Absolutely. Jennifer, do you think Scott Peterson was safer on death row?
No, I don't think he was safer on death row. And Vinny, I thought that we were talking about them being at a country club, not at a prison. I mean, pickleball and relaxing with your tablet. I mean, where are these people? It's sort of crazy that they're having these types of activities. No, I think Peterson has a lot of supporters where he is right now. It sounds like he can command a lot of attention and have people at his beck and call. So I don't think he was better off on death row. So I think he seems like he's doing pretty well and having a pretty good time in there, having time to play pickleball.
Yeah, and the moral of the story is this was not about pickleball. Pickleball is a peaceful sport. It's a friendly sport, period. Okay, Think Tank staying with us. We've got a celebrity in the news. Gary Busey, accused of groping women at Monster Mania Con.
Okay, the next court appearance in this matter will be for April 21st. Okay, Mr. Busey, you are receiving notice via Zoom. It's just like receiving a signed notice for my court. Your court date, sir, is 4/21. What date did I say, sir?
$421.
What?
4/21. The date. She asked you the date of the next court appearance. 4/20.
Is a hearing. April 21st.
Gary Busey appearing via Zoom in a court in New Jersey because back in 2022, he's accused of groping 2 women and attempting to grope a third at Monster Mania Con, where he was signing autographs and posing for pictures. Take a look at what the probable cause affidavit said. It said the defendant, Gary Busey, placed his face near one of the victim's breasts and asked her where she got them before attempting to unlatch her bra strap. The second victim reported he grabbed her buttocks with his hand during the photo shoot, and a third victim said that he grabbed her buttocks during a photo shoot as well. Let's bring back in our think tank, Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, and Jennifer Brandt. Darnell, your thoughts about this Gary Busey in New Jersey?
The first thought was, why doesn't Al have that client? Like, I'm a celebrity lawyer. He should be one as well. I hope he's working on that. Second thing is, I just looked into Candace Owens' book that's a bestseller called Make Him a Sandwich, Why Women Doesn't Need the Feminist Movement. And she was giving a whole big podcast about this whole idea that she's representing Weinstein now. And she's on this crusade to free him because she met him and talked to him. And she realized that there's too many opportunities for women to make up these allegations and ruin your life with no proof at all. So here we are now where Busey, you can't even say April 21st, allegedly some time ago, long ago, did this and open in the public. I don't get it. And I'm not saying I'm trying to victimize the victims, but we need more than just some old allegations. So I'm with Candace Owens on this. Make them a sandwich, stop the nonsense. And it's just too easy for men to get their lives ruined by just an allegation. They need to do more.
Jennifer, your thoughts?
I disagree with Darnell on this one. I think Darnell looks very nice tonight in his red shirt, but I think that if victims come forward and say that something happened, that's why he's being charged. And we'll see what happens at the trial. He apparently has some people coming forward with affidavits supporting him. So again, we'll see if anybody observed what went on or didn't happen. But I don't think, I think women or anyone should feel free to report any kind of assault or incident like that if it happened. Sure.
Al, I want you to take a look at this. It's Sasha 2020 on TikTok posted a video about his experience meeting Gary Busey at that same Monster Mania in 2022. You take a look here, you can see Busey sitting at a table, signing autographs, meeting fans, and the TikToker ended the video with a photo that he took with Gary Busey at that meet and greet. Al, what are your thoughts tonight?
Well, first of all, Vin, as I'm the only one of this panel who's actually met Gary Busey and spent time with him, I'm going to have an interesting perspective on same. I take a look at his book, which is called Buseyisms, which he comes up, and there's me and Gary, that like the word Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. There were a few words that were not in his book, which I have taken the liberty of putting in. The word trial, which stands for the result is always laughable, or contact. Can one not take a carnal touch? And finally, misconduct. My issue stems currently over non-decency under curious times. So those are the Buseyisms I have with regards to this.
Does he look different now than he did when you met him in 2018?
Yeah, he does look, he looks considerably different. I mean, it's a very sad situation. He actually is very personable. He was very friendly. And it's very sad to see him at this stage, looking the way he is. I mean, you can see him there. That was in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And, I had interviewed him, and he was quite engaging. I mean, he's got an interesting pedigree with regards to his Hollywood stuff. And, it's a sad situation. But, notwithstanding same, I don't condone that type of behavior. That should not be done. I agree with Jennifer. I don't agree with the Gilligan reboot. That
there we go. He got it in.
That it's hands all over.
Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brand, thank you so much. We'll see you again. Coming up, something else you need to know. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan investigates the sexual abuse and murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Tonight we take a listen to newly revealed phone calls from jail. Does Stephen Stearns confess? Are there other potential victims? Tonight we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan investigates. Coming up next, only on Court TV.
You are talking for the first time. You said, I will answer any question truthfully and completely. Can I count on you for that?
Welcome back. Time to take a look at something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Arrested in Mexico, on the run since February 17th. That is Yolanda Marodi. She was arrested for the murder of her wife, California Fire Captain Rebecca Marodi, in Ramona near San Diego. She had already served time for killing her husband, now charged with the murder of her wife. We obviously will continue to track this one for you, but finally under arrest. Take a look at your television screens. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. This is Kapulani Phillips. Kapulani has been missing since March 10th out of Cincinnati, Ohio, just 17 years old. Now, she has multiple tattoos, has braces, and may go by the name Lonnie or Cap. Okay, so please take a close look at her photo. If you see her, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Cincinnati Police Department in Ohio. That number is on your screen right now. Don't go anywhere. If another hour of live true crime, Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.